Hey guys, Kaz here, and today I'm going to be talking about all the stuff I watched in December, which to be fair was quite a lot, because for the second half of December I didn't really read much. I was doing projects that I had to do with my hands, so I had stuff on that I was watching at the same time, so yes, let's just kick straight into it. First up, I watched Cirque du Soleil Worlds Away. This was on Amazon Prime, and it was like a Cirque du Soleil performance that had been made into a film, but there was no words, it was just the action and stuff, and it was just really cool. It looked so nice with all the acrobats, and they're doing weird stuff, and there's like a story sewn through, but also it just kind of didn't even matter if there was a story, because it was just really impressive and really interesting and enjoyable to watch. Music, people doing cool flippy twisty stuff, good times. I also watched The Trial of the Chicago 7. This is a film based on the trial of the Chicago 7, which happened in, I want to say the 60s, but I might be wrong, where basically there was like a protest kind of thing, and then some people from different organisations, the leaders of them, all got put together and said, oh, these organised this and we want to do them for this random thing that nobody's ever been done before in court. And yeah, that was a crazy time, just to see all of the things that went on in that trial. Obviously there's a few little tweaks that have been made to make it film worthy, a few things that weren't 100% correct, but mostly it's just exactly what happened, and it's absolutely crazy. They brought this one black guy in it who was one of the leaders of the Black Panthers at the time, and he wasn't even in the place for that long, and the way he was treated was crazy. He didn't even have a lawyer. The judge was just like, oh, use their lawyers, and even though he said no, the judge was absolutely terrible in this case. If the film is anything to go by, then that judge should not have been a judge. It was absolutely crazy. And then the guy, because he kept being in contempt of court, because he kept saying, no, this is not good, I haven't got a lawyer, they literally gagged and bound him in court for days. It's crazy that that's even allowed. But yeah, it was really interesting. Definitely give it a watch if that sounds interesting to you. Like I say, it's a film version, so it's not going to be 100% correct. There's going to be little discrepancies, but in general it was really interesting. I didn't know much about that. I've heard of the Chicago 7, but I didn't really know the actual real thing behind it, so it was definitely interesting. After that, I watched a short documentary called Long Shot. It's about 40 minutes. This one is pretty interesting and unbelievable and mad, because it's about a guy who the police get and say that he's done this murder, and it's just the flipping hoops he had to jump through to prove his innocence is absolutely madness. And it just goes to show that if people didn't have all of these different pieces of information and proof that they weren't there doing a murder, how many people get put away? Because they had no evidence about him. It was just very circumstantial, and forgive me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's the prosecution's job to prove someone's guilty rather than their job to prove they're innocent. And he was like, oh, here's video evidence of me somewhere else, and they're like, no, it's not enough. Oh, here's this phone call, no, it's not enough. Oh, this, like, no, I'm pretty sure it's your job to prove that they had done it rather than their job to prove that they didn't. But anyway, it's a very interesting one. If you've got Netflix and you're interested in true crime stuff, definitely check it out, because the amount of things and proof and luck he had on his side to have all this proof for him to not go away. They were gunning for the death penalty as well, which blows my mind. They had hardly any evidence and was gunning for the death penalty for this guy. I mean, if one of these little pieces of information didn't happen, or he weren't in a certain place at a certain time, he'd be on death row. It's absolutely crazy. After that, I watched Bill and Ted Face the Music. This is the newest third installment in the Bill and Ted franchise, and it was alright. It's definitely not a patch on the first two. The first two are absolute classics. I love them. They stand up. I feel like I've watched them pretty recently, within the last few years or so, and they're still just genuinely great films. This one, it was alright, but it was missing a little bit of the magic. They're older guys now, and it just doesn't feel as fun and silly because they're like in their 50s or whatever, so it feels a bit silly, not in a funny haha way, but silly like, alright then guys, you're adults. I don't want to be that guy, but they brought all the old players back, but then the princesses were cast with younger actresses, and ain't that just Hollywood's way? Because girls are not allowed to be over 35 and over 8 stone, I don't know. But yeah, when I clocked them, I was like, those are not the actresses that were the princesses. Hey, maybe the princesses just didn't want to come back and do it, but I have a feeling it's probably because the other two are younger and thinner, because that's how it goes. Other than that, there were some really funny parts. The story in general was alright, but there were definitely some little classic parts in there that made the film worth watching. Death was great. There was this robot guy called Dennis, and he was great, so yeah. If you like the other two, then give it a go, but don't expect it to be amazing, because it's not amazing, but it does have some fun parts. After that, I watched Truth Seekers, which is about people that install the internet and help do all the internety stuff, but also hunt ghosts. This is a Nick Frost, Simon Pegg venture, which are always fun. And yeah, I think it's like 8 episodes on Amazon Prime, and it was really good. I really enjoyed it. There was this overarching theme, but also each episode they went to a different place because the internet or the, you know, certain things weren't working, and they went there and they found out the reason why, because there was weird ghostly activity and weird creepy stuff going on. And it also had Julian Barrett in, who I love. He is the other one in the Mighty Boosh. You're probably more likely to know Noel Fielding, but Julian Barrett is the brains and the best bit behind the Mighty Boosh, and he was in it, so it was good to see him in something as well. But yeah, the ending definitely left it open for a sequel. I can say that for sure. Then I watched Three Girls, which was based on true events, but obviously stylized for TV, blah blah blah, about the Rochdale and just England-wide, I don't want to say bad words because people might not like it, but when loads of girls were getting forced into having sex with older men, let's just say it that way. It was a really big thing. I don't know, when was it, 10 years ago? Something like that. It all broke, and then there was this like big ring of people that were doing it. It was about that anyway, and it followed 3 girls, mostly one of them, but the other 2 as well it followed. And yeah, it just told you about how that went down. I think there was like 3 or 4 episodes. It's quite a small one. And yeah, that was interesting. It's also, like most of the time when you watch these true crime, true event type things, when you see how shit the police were, it just blows your mind. It begs the belief, what do the police, what and how, what and why? Them and social workers. There was this one woman who was the local, she worked in the, like a clinic-y thing that would help talk about sex to kids, and, you know, that would go and talk to them if they've need advice or whatever. And she was gunning for all of these people in this ring, and she had like 7 years information, and she gave it to the police, and they were just like, what do you want us to do with it? And she was like, your job. So yeah, that was crazy. And obviously at the end it gives you like little snippets of, oh, this is what kind of really happened, this is what this person's doing now, this is what that person's doing now. But yeah, this one woman was trying to like break this ring for so many years, and she had like folders and folders and folders of all this information that she would give to the police, give to social workers, and they just weren't having a bar of it. And also this was in a time when people who were victims weren't seen as victims. They'll be like, oh well, the girl shouldn't have done it. And it's like, no, the girl's a child, so you can't blame her for doing it if she's been like scared into doing it or whatever. For example, at one point one of the girls is pregnant, and a social worker goes around and tells her parents that she's a prostitute, and then this sex clinic woman had a big go at her. I don't know how true this bit is, obviously, because, you know, stylized for TV, but she's basically like, how can you call her a prostitute when she is also a child? It's not her, she can't be a sex worker if she's not old enough. That was an interesting one. Obviously some people probably wouldn't want to watch that, but if you do know about that or want to know more about that happened in England, then that's the thing. When I first started watching it, I was just looking for somewhere, like, put some crime thing on it, because it's something easy to watch while I'm doing other stuff. I always put, as you can tell, I always put true crime on, or like crime TV shows that are not true crime. But I didn't actually know that this was based on that until I started watching it. I was like, oh shit, yeah, I remember that. I remember that happening. So yeah. We're about halfway through, so you know what time that is. It is time for a message from one of our sponsors. Please come back. I know I'm rambling, but come back. Aw, look how content she is. You know why that is? It's because she's subscribed. Look. Such comfort. So subscribe. After that, I finished The End of the Fucking World. I talked about this a few months ago because I watched the first half of the second season a few months ago. I thought I should probably finish that, and I did. It was alright. It's one of them shows that's kind of easy to put on in the background, like so many of these. The ending, I feel like there's a part of the ending that happens, something happens, and then it's like one of the characters' thoughts. And that would have been so cool if that was the ending. I was like, oh my god, gobsmacked, but then it carried on. I was, that's not as good anymore. But yeah, I suppose the ending is probably something that more people would enjoy, but I would have really liked it if it stopped there. But The End of the Fucking World is about these two people, and in the first season they just kind of go on the run, go on a road trip kind of thing. The boy feels like he wants to kill the girl, but then he gets to know her and he doesn't want to kill her anymore, and then other stuff ensues and other kill. And then the second season is following the aftermath of all that going on, and also introduces a new character that has ties to somebody from the first season. So yeah, it's alright. I also finished Paranoid. This is a TV show that I talked about in my last, what I've been watching, I do believe. And again, the ending is just kind of meh. I would have liked something better. There was this whole sort of conspiracy theory. Some people got killed, and then there was a conspiracy theory. And then when it all ties up, I was kind of like, I mean, it's alright, but I feel like it could have been better. Yeah, that's my feelings to the end of that. I won't go into it anymore because, like I said, I think I talked about it in my last one. I also rewatched Just Friends. This is a film from the Netherlands, and yeah, it's just a cute film about these two guys that get together and fall for each other, and it's just cute. And I have stated many times, and I will continue to state, Joshua Stradowski is Ronan Lynch. Just saying, I've said, I will continue to say. I know he's a little bit older, but in TV shows and stuff, they always age up the characters, and you know, and I watched this again, and then I saw Ronan again, and yeah, Joshua Stradowski, Ronan. But this is just a really cute film, and it's fun and nice. After I watched The Innocence Files, this is a 9-part series, so the first 3 episodes are about evidence, then the next 3 about the witness, and the next 3 about the prosecution, and it just, each episode goes into a specific case where that thing has got wrong. Like, the witness in this case, this person you did not see because they weren't there, but the witness were so adamant that they saw the person that they got put in prison. Or the evidence weren't there, but certain evidence people said that it was, so they got done. The prosecution trying to force a conviction when they don't have enough evidence, and hiding evidence from the defence and stuff like that. It's really interesting. Definitely give it a watch if you're into that sort of thing, like true crime and stuff. Like I say, 9 different cases are talked about, and all of them, because it's the Innocence Files, all of them, the person goes to jail, and then the Innocence Project are the ones behind it and trying to get them out of jail and stuff. So yeah, definitely an interesting one. Especially considering that all these things people think are concrete evidence. They think evidence is concrete, they think witnesses are concrete, they think the prosecution are there to do their job. But it's not always true. The witness one, for example, on one of the ones, it was the police forcing one of the guys to say that this guy did it, and then all of his friends backing him up that were there. So that's why the person got convicted. But then on the flip side of it, there was this woman who was convinced that this guy had broken into her work and raped her, and then it turns out it wasn't him. So it shows you both sides of the witness. They can be tampered with, but they can also be tampered with a tiny little bit, or even just accidentally persuaded into thinking one way, and they can be that convinced that they genuinely think that person did it. So yeah, definitely really interesting. Give it a watch. Of course, 2020 came to an end, so Big Fat Quiz of the Year existed. This is just a comedy thing that happens every year in England, where a bunch of comedians and other folk are on a panel, and then they just answer questions from the year, and it's just a really fun time. And I feel like this year they had loads of good people on. A lot of the time there'll be 1 or 2 people that I'm like, they're alright, I've seen them in a few things. But in this one, I knew every single person, and it was a fun time. Comedy, who doesn't like it? Also a bit of a Christmas special. We had Big Zoo's Big Eats. There was 2 specials. One of them was with people in the grime scene, and one of them was with comedians. And Big Zoo is a grime artist himself, and also likes to cook food, and he has his TV show where he goes and, well, the main episodes, main seasons, was going to different comedians, and on one of the dates of their tour he'd make them food, and then they'd eat the food, and then it would be funny but also good, and all the food looks so nice. And yeah, it was really good. I like food, I like Big Zoo, I like comedy, all the good stuff. I also finished off Trial by Media. This is something that I started watching a long time ago, but I watched the last 4 episodes, and like it suggests, it is cases that have very, very big media attention, whether that's good or bad, whether it's the media thinking the person does it or whether it's media being very for them. And it's just an interesting concept. The cases are very different because it's about the media involvement, so it's not necessarily what the case is like, it's how the media is involved. So for example, in the last 4, one of them was a politician dude that was being underhanded, and then there was loads of media about it, obviously, kept going on talk shows and talking about it and going all obvious stuff. And then on the other hand, there is a case where a woman is gang raped at a pub, and the media filmed the whole trial, and it was really harrowing, it was harsh. And it was this whole concept of, why are they filming it? Is it helpful? Is it not helpful? Is it making other people that are victims not want to step forward because of how everybody is treating the woman? So yeah, very different trials, very different cases, but all with a media influence. Don't worry guys, 2 things left, both of them rewatches. The first one's Freefall. This is a German film. It's about a guy who's in the police force, or training to be in the police force, and then he meets this other guy. And then they start a bit of a relationship type thing, which is naughty because he has a girlfriend who is preggers at home. Also, the guy that he starts getting in a relationship with, you might recognise from Sense8. If you've seen Sense8, it is the German one, Wolfgang. So yeah. This film I watched many moons ago. I got it on DVD, I rewatched it, I enjoyed it. There's meant to be a sequel, but it still hasn't come out, so that's annoying. And then the last thing I rewatched was Crashing. This is an English TV show. There's only 6 episodes, which is really annoying because I think it got cancelled. There were definitely scope for more, but it's just super quick, like 25 minutes each. I saw it and I was like, I need to watch that, and I just rewatched it all there and then. It's just about a bunch of 20-somethings that live in an old hospital. They're all rent one of the rooms, so it's really cheap, but it's really just weird and cool. And it's just all about them and their life and relationships and stuff. It's funny, it's good, it's cute, all the good stuff. And then on these I like to talk about new to me YouTubers that I've been watching, if there is any. There is. So first of all, I know most of you probably heard of this, Jacksepticeye. I know he's not new, but he's new to me. I've heard of his name for many years. I finally started watching him, and he's a funny Irish fellow and I enjoy it. And also Sweet Anita, who is a gamer who also has Tourette's, and I like her videos where she's talking about that. I find it really interesting when people talk about their experiences in different ways and bring it to light and show, normalise, all the good stuff. So yeah, those are the 2 new to me YouTubers. And we're finishing the video. I feel like this is a long one, but I did watch a lot. So let me know down below if you've watched any of these, if any sound interesting. Most of them are on either Netflix or a few on Amazon Prime, so I guess it depends on where in the world you are as well, or if you have a VPN. So yeah, let me know down below. And if this is your first video of me and you enjoy it, then please check out some of the others. And if you continue to enjoy, then please subscribe, that would be awesome. Anyway guys, I'll see you in a few days with another video.